Good morning. Welcome to Who Am I? I was off the air yesterday. I did a special video for a personal friend yesterday. Instead of doing the show at this time, I recorded a different thing. Anyway, the show is Who Am I? I want to introduce myself. My name is, at least for the purposes of the show, I will be your hostess for the next hour, possibly a little longer. My name is Amelie Starchild, although that is not my name. And what is the purpose of this show? I'm finding my voice. This is just me riffing to the universe. That's all it is, just me. But I have my personal pet favorite topic, which is source energy itself. How it applies to us, our design, our nature, our history, our present, our future. How it relates to the cosmos, physics, technology, all of that sort of thing. I want to talk about it, but this is more than that, because when you pull the whole picture in, it has to be more than that. It becomes a spirit. There's a whole vibe we're going to have coming from this direction that is connected, that is loving, that is allowing, that is hopeful, that is compassionate without being empathetic. If you're an Abraham, what do they call those? Well, they're conscious creators, but they call them, I don't know what they call them. A listener of Abraham, Esther Hicks, Abraham Hicks, and the Law of Attraction, that stuff. If you were a listener of that, you know what I'm talking about. Let's see. No views, of course. I get an error right away telling me that I have a keyframe frequency of it's too high. Mine's 8. It needs to be 4 or less. It's causing buffering issues. It's even possible that you are not seeing this because of that. I almost wasn't going to stream this morning and wait until I can handle it with my daughter later and just make the video like I have been since earlier this year. I don't know why that doesn't look like anything. I don't know. In any case, if you're picking up this on the YouTube, just on my video channel, later, I'm sorry for all of this. Usually I'm a little tighter. And I could be, because I could pause the recording during the live stream. Nobody's really listening. Yeah, the other day I had somebody listen for 9 seconds and then say, "This is crap. Why am I here?" Alright, well, we'll just treat this like I'm doing the video today then. And I'll just erase that. Just won't even look at the live stream over there, because it's distracting anyway. In any case, yesterday I had it was such a wonderful day in a way. I was dealing with a fight that I'd had with someone that I love very much, And I got a chance to use the principles I talk about every morning in my show. I got a chance to use the principles in a real life way to help restore peace and harmony and tranquility between two human beings who love one another. But I was able to get into the right frame of mind, get my inner being and my conventional self all lined up in the same place, and very clearly put to words exactly how I felt, clarified the situation, and la-di-da, we are loving, dear friends again. And it is so wonderful. There are so many ways that lining up with your inner being is going to help you in this world. And so, yeah, in a way, I sound like a preacher. I'm sitting on a pulpit and I'm talking about God. I'm talking about the spirits, and I'm talking about being good to one another and loving one another, and we're all in this together and all of that. Yes, I do seem to be saying that. I don't really mean to be saying that, but it turns out that excuse me. It turns out that is what I'm saying, but I want to flip it into a matter-of-fact frame so that we're not talking about it with stars in our eyes or angry with one another or offended with one another about. I'm not actually talking about religion, although I'm talking about topics that I would like you to take whatever it is that I say and blend it back in with your religion. I do not mean this to be a reason for you to push against your religion or anything else. This is actually an exercise in pushing against nothing and realizing that in a way, it's all perfect. In every moment, it's all there. All of the compensating factors for that thing over there you don't like. I mean, it's all perfect. And yet, at the same time, you can see it's a field of possibility where, like a canvas, where there's so many different really cool things that could be created to make everything better. Base it on what you love. Base it on what you care about. Base it on beauty and connectivity and efficiency, and the mind just boggles at the possibilities in front of us. And then you turn and then you have to say, yeah, but people are so stupid. You know, it's not going to be that grand, slick, thing that you're putting stars in my eyes about. Well, that's what I run into too. And so that's actually why I wanted to make the show. Who am I? I think that's what our problem is. We just don't know who we are. And so I think we got to start with that first. Who am I? And then from there, I'm so sorry, I got a frog in my throat. Hopefully there's nobody on the live stream right now listening to me cough. I don't think there is. No, of course there's nobody over there. I should do that. I should go back to hot tea with honey and lemon. All right, and go back. I'm back. I just had to go cough a little bit. I still have a bit of a problem with that this morning. I can feel that toad right there squatting over my larynx. Anyway, what is the point of the Who Am I show? It's me. It's me finding my voice, finding my ability to speak clearly about everything I care about. It's about me being able to connect things that I believe, that I feel connect in spirit, in order for us all to achieve, gain, whatever, a higher understanding, a new understanding. Add in what I'm saying into all of the rest that you already know. I'm not asking you to discard what you already know in the positive. Ultimately, I'm asking you to discard your negative, but only after you understand what your negative is and agree that, oh, that has to do with alignment, because my negative self still is there. I myself experienced my negative self for the first time, and I was finally driven to shouting, and I got pushed a long way before I finally did it, and I just closed my eyes, I screwed up my eyes, and I just shouted what I was thinking. And then I immediately, the person I was talking to hung up on me, of course, and, I immediately wasn't angry anymore, and thought about it and thought about it and thought about it, and did the show yesterday morning in a dedication to that whole situation, and sent it off to the person. Instead of posting it to the public, I sent it off to the person, and then we settled our differences. We found our love. We found our peace on the other side of it, and it was really quite beautiful. And it helped me understand how, indeed, not only does an understanding of who we are help us, big and small, individually, specifically, I believe it will help us collectively find our peace on this planet. Find the right spirit on this planet. The love and connection with one another as human beings, our connection in reality to the biosphere that has spawned us. All of that. My favorite topic ever: what is source energy, and who are we in reference to this source energy, and how is it going to, in practical ways, help me with the problems that I've got in my life, help me with the conditions that I see on planet Earth that need to be ameliorated. There are issues we have, and let's just look at them broadly. You have to understand them broadly and understand your own design broadly, and then you dial into the specific from there. And, depending on what your job is from there, if you're a city planner or if you're whatever. But in the meantime, we've got a lot of systems on the planet. We've got a lot of things on the planet that momentum's going, you could say, that aren't really serving us. And what do you do about that? Well, everybody doesn't have to do everything about everything. I have a tendency to think in terms of big systems. I'm a big systems person, and I've given it a lot of thought. Somebody someday should hire me because of that, just to do that, because I'm really good at it. But it would have to be somebody really high up who wanted to put in place systems that were in the right spirit. That's what I can get you, is put it in the right spirit. Now all the technical people involved in the situation because the spirit is going to organize the thing. The spirit is at the center of the organizational force of the thing. And do you know what the organizational pattern is everywhere, all the time, every time? It's spin. And I know that that sounds simplistic, and it is. But it's actually more than simplistic, it's more like fundamental. And so you got to bake it into the cake really high up on the tree of the flow chart. It's got to be really high up there because it's fundamental. It's right there at the top. Everything is spin. It's just spin. And the spin is flowing forth from frequencies. And what's really important to understand is the frequency that you're on. It's the most important thing. And as Milton Mayer pointed out in his They Thought They Were Free book, there's some really worthy quotes in there. Apparently the whole thing is a little whatever, and it was written like 10 years after the war, too. But, you know, whatever. Some of it is absolutely beautiful stuff. There's a quote in there about how, let's see, the world you live in, let's see, all at once you see that everything has changed, and changed completely under your nose. The world you live in, your nation, your people, it's not the world you were born in at all. The forms are all there, all untouched, all reassuring. The houses, the shops, the jobs, the meal times, the visits, the concerts, the cinema, the holidays, but the spirit, which you never noticed because you made the lifelong mistake of identifying it with the forms, is changed. Now you live in a world of hate and fear, and the people who hate and fear do not even know it themselves. Now, all of that, the point of that, excuse me, the point of that and where it tied into what I was talking about is we spend all of our time focusing on the forms. That's just what we do. And the reason that we do it is because collectively as a people, when we turned our eye to looking to who is telling us the truth about our world, from the shaman and the priest, when we started looking instead to the scientist for this, some 350 years ago or so, thereabouts, however you want to mark the beginning of the scientific revolution, at that moment, that's when we took our attention off of the spirit, because everybody was looking at the spirit before, although they were looking at it in a funny way too, you know, accusatory, and it was weird before then. But we started looking instead to the material world. The materiality became primary in our minds as to its place in the hierarchy of order around us. The material world started coming first. It wasn't always so. We used to think primarily in terms of spirits. But now, and Milton Mayer points out that when you're primarily focused on the matter, the spirit can change right under your nose, and you never noticed it because that's not what you were paying attention to. Well, I'm saying that's what we need to pay attention to. The spirit comes first. It really does. The spirit is primary because the spirit, I'm air quoting the word spirit, is actually, it's a frequency. It's a frequency. It's a frequency that you're on. And when I say you're on, it's the frequency that you're on has to do with, Abraham calls it your vibrational offering. I like that word. I think that's pretty good. I think it's sort of a combination of things. It's coming, your emotional part of it appears to be projecting somewhere around the area of your solar plexus. I'm not sure exactly. There's an energy center there of some sort. And your vibrational offering put forth to the universe is kind of centered there. But your whole self is an energy signature. You're a carnal engine putting out this, almost 100 degrees temperature, thermal engine for all your life. You have an electromagnetic field coming off of your brain from the activity within your physical mind, the brain in your physical skull. That one is putting out a electromagnetic field, a signature. Your heart is putting out a really big electromagnetic field, one that is so powerful that the presence of it, at least, can be measured by equipment you could go buy down at Lowe's. The electromagnetic field of your heart, and the whole thing is comprising your signature, your energy signature on the grid in the field. You are projecting this signature to the universe, and the universe is responding to it. It's absorbing the information that you are uploading to the field, and it is swirling back to you in a little cloud of your own miasma. Depending on whatever you are spewing, you're getting a load of whatever that is. If you are spewing love and hope and faith and logic and energy and possibility and all of that stuff, if you're spewing that, then that's what the universe immediately is, what you're seeing, what you're rendezvousing with, what you're getting confirmed, or what you're working with. You get what you think about. Let's see, what is that rule? There's one actionable rule in all the 5 rules of the universe, 5 structural laws of the universe. Shall we review them? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first one is you exist. There's nothing you can do to change that. You can commit suicide, but you will find that you still exist. All you've done is just you've just destroyed the physical aspect that you had coalesced into, but you're still there. I believe that is what you're going to find. Bashar tells us so, and a lot of other people tell us so too, and I just think that's right. It feels right. The second one is everything is here and now. That one feels right too. And, because even the stuff you're going to do tomorrow, when you do it tomorrow, it'll be now. There is only now. The all are one and the one is all. There's this one all thing that we are all participating in and all relevant to. We are not dandruff on the shoulders of God. We are not sweat in the armpit of God, or toe jam, or we are dust in the wind in a way, but only if you look at us from the outside perspective. When you look at us from the inside perspective, we can get as big as the whole universe. It has to do with how you can align your own personal apparatus with the wholeness of the big apparatus, because we are scalar and we are layers of the one. And the here, hold on one second, I'm gonna go back. Oh, that's not where I wanted to go. That's where I wanted to go. Oh, still no viewers. I don't expect any viewers. There's something wrong with what's going on right now. And where I started it before, I was getting the stream. I was getting out there, but I don't think anybody's seeing me now, and so there's something off that my daughter's got to help me fix. And so right now I'm pretending like I'm live streaming, but I don't think I really am. I mean, if I am, I'm doing it invisibly somehow. So anyway, who am I? Who am I? I am a being that is, and what's the meaning of my life? Well, let's take this one from Abraham, because I like this one. This feels so good. Your existence is grounded in freedom. You are way more free than you might be imagining yourself to be. Because, first of all, you might be identifying yourself as the human being and only the human being that you inhabit. The human being you inhabit is kind of like a cloak, a skin, a 3D virtual suit that you are wearing. It's not really you. The you that you really are is made up of frequencies, and all of the frequencies are positive, every single one of them, that comprise who you really are. Every single one of them is positive. But you can come into this being that has the ability to play this emotional instrument, if you will, that somebody in their wisdom gave us, created us to be. If you know me and you know my show, you know that I have my personal belief. I think we are genetically modified. I think that there is evidence of it in chromosome number 2. It appears to be 2 ape chromosomes fused together, telomere to telomere, with redundancies on both sides of the equation clipped away. And the result is human chromosome number 2, which is responsible. It's 8% of all the DNA in every cell of your body, and it's responsible for about 3/4 of the volume of your neocortex. And your neocortex is your overview mind. It's your physical overview mind. The one who can kind of supersede the knee-jerk reactions of the mammalian brain. You know, the territoriality of the lizard brain. You know, there's the it can see bigger and farther and gives you emotional control, gives you well, I have a slide that shows the neocortex. Here we go. Here's our neocortex diagram showing you all of the things that the neocortex gives us. Language, morality, logic, analysis, rational thought, and control of emotions. This is what is given to us by our... So I do believe that we were genetically modified. Somebody did this to us. The truth of the matter is that we do have this fused chromosome. And then you have to decide how likely you think it is that these 2 chromosomes jumped on each other, you know, glued together from, you know, basically outside to outside kind of. It was very unnatural. It would be hard to imagine how it happened accidentally. So somebody has given us this ability. And what this ability is now I can come into a place where I can discern. Because from my other place, I kind of like everything. Everything's great over there. Everything's great over there. I can see the possibility. So from over there, that's where all the possibility is in this place where that feeling is. But what I need to blend is what I know on the ground as a human being with what my inner being knows about the possibilities of life, you know? So you aren't really discarding everything that your mammalian brain is not always wrong about liking or not liking a situation. But its knee-jerk response to the things it doesn't like, its primary focus on the here and now always, you know, without having any sense of yesterday or any sense of tomorrow in a physical brain kind of a way. That's the difference between the mammalian brain and the neocortex mind. The ability to think about yesterday and plan for tomorrow in an intentional and conscious way. That's different. And it's very special that somebody gave us this. Now I'm going to go back to just some... I think I'll go to this one. Who am I? Who am I, right? So it's very special. You are both of you, and you will only be this you for this time in your life. For this expirational time, there is a very, very special thing about this moment in time, that you are this expirational you. But the you who you are always is this continuum of positive energy. That's who you really are. I like to say it's who you really are because it's who you always are. But I have, in the course of doing this show, and in the course of me explaining this over and over, I start to realize the fullness of this partnership going on between you and you, and how important it is that we should all just, in a matter-of-fact way, understand that we have this. We do have this. We are a bigger, older, fuller, more connected self than the one that we give ourselves credit for. We are two beings. Every one of us is two beings. And one of the two beings that we all are is the same. Do you know what I mean? So I am my little me and my big me. And you are your little me and your big me. And where we intersect there is the big me. And where we diverge is the little me. And both of them are sacred and important. And if we would spiritually learn to come from that spiritual position as human beings, there wouldn't be a problem out there in the world, I'm telling you right now. If we truly understood that this was what our design was, and that at no time ever, when you are looking at a problem, you're never looking at anything other than someone not being in alignment with their greater knowing. Because all of our greater knowing knows. And so I think that we've got to get to a place where we understand that we all, we can't force anything down anybody else's throat. It all has to be up to every individual. I actually did a really nice text yesterday. I wonder if it would apply to the world. Let me see something really quick. I just got to make sure that I truly have no one in the... Yes, of course, no one is listening. That's good in a way. It means I'm not missing anything. In a way, I'm just doing my recording, and I'll tell it to my daughter. There must be something seriously off because I'm not showing to people. Otherwise, somebody would come back. I even had somebody give me a text, an email saying, well, it was in the chat, a message saying, you know, "Ooh, I saw you streamed and I missed you. So, anyway. I should take those. I really should. I should take them right now. There's something going on with my leg and I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to start taking these. Because I'm perfect right now. Let's just keep it that way. Anyway, just imagine this for a minute, if you will. Imagine how wonderful it would be to live in a world where everybody understood their general design. And they quit pushing back against other people in the wrong way, you know? And others looking at kerfuffles from the outside would understand right away what they were observing and what to do about it, how to fix it, how to inspire people back to their own alignment, you know? Wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great? It would be so great. Anyway, who am I? Who am I, and what do I want to share with the world? What wisdom do I want to share with the world? Well, I'll tell you right now, none of it will be will be things that you've never heard before. If it is something that you've never heard before, you've either been living under a rock, or I don't know. What I have noticed is that great truth echoes and iterates from a million jillion corners, and you hear it come back to you said in different ways, from different voices, from different, you know, and you go, I recognize you as truth. Because this frequency of love, this spirit that this spirit of allowing and whatever that I try to come from in this room most of the time, you know, the connection to your inner spirit kind of frequency, it's apparently the underlying frequency of all existence. That's why it feels that way. When you get into that place where it feels so safe, that frequency that feels so safe, it's a frequency. It's not a place. It's not a thing that you have to orchestrate from the outside. It's a frequency you achieve from the inside. And once you figure out where that frequency is coming from, it's coming from an alignment between your two minds. Because your inner being needs you to be on the ground with your discerning eye and your sense of, you know, from there you are going to be sifting and sorting from a buffet of everything. Quit judging it. It's just a buffet of everything. You know, really, really mean and horrible and terrible. Like mythologically mean and horrible and terrible. Don't judge it. You're at a buffet. And the whole idea is you are declaring to the universe, as you live your life every step of the way, this is who I am, this is who I am, this is who I am. And you're doing it by choosing in the positive, not by pushing in the negative. Although, in a way, you know, you're saying something there too. If all you can do is glom onto negative and resonate with negative and fear the negative and notice the negative, well, you're saying something there too. I wouldn't venture to say exactly what you're saying. I think you're saying I'm walking backwards, but you know, you're not saying I'm an evil person, because you aren't. No one is. What you're saying is I'm walking backwards. I've got myself tangled up. I'm affecting the energies not the way I would like, and I'm having a rough ride. Could you help me? That's what they're saying, even though maybe it sounds like, F you, you effing want to get out of my face, or, you know, something really ornery that makes you want to just, like, flip them off and say, fine. Abraham talks about it like, she says, if you saw someone bleeding in the street, we know you would help them. But when you see somebody being ornery, being angry and nasty or whatever, you don't think of it as they're in pain, or there's something off with them, that they need help with that. Well, if we all collectively understood what our design actually is, where our emotions are coming from. Our emotions are not our ultimate statement of who we are is we are an energy that loves everything, that is so excited about life itself, that sees the energies moving and dancing as, the blood running through its veins. We are a being that is totally fine with all things, feels safe in this universe. There's nothing that can touch us from where we really are. And then we come down into these bodies, and these bodies give us the ability to do something different, which is feel negative. Now, we still are a positive self, and the negative occurs when we take a thought that does not resonate with who we really are. That is what causes that negative emotion. And so if we use this information, we can guide our thoughts into greater understanding of what's really happening around us. Don't just leave the negative, positive and negative, it's all supposed to be there. I remember I started saying the foundation of our lives. I started with the freedom. I never made it to expansion and joy. Abraham has a funny way of saying that. She goes, we tell you that your life is all about freedom and joy and growth. And you say, we hear you, Abraham, growth, 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 growth. It's funny. Anyway, if you never listen to Abraham, then I'm sorry. But she is good, and she's all over the internet. And I went to one seminar. It was a cruise seminar back in 2022. I went all by myself, as a matter of fact. It was right before my eyes started getting bad enough that I really wouldn't have wanted to do that. That was 2 years ago. I did not rent a car. I took Ubers. I made it I did it all by myself. Anyway, it doesn't matter. She's all over the internet, and she's done such a good job of disseminating her message, and she's really good, And don't ever take what she says to a place in your own self that doesn't feel right. Only take her exactly to where it feels right. And that's what you should do with everyone. And you should take all of them into yourself. Trying to understand I'm babbling now. I have this pet idea. I call it addition consciousness. And it has to do with adding others and their viewpoints into your conscious frame, in your mind place where you're trying to figure out the meaning of life, like what it all means. You've got a place where you put everybody else's ideas. It's not exactly where you put your own ideas, but it's in there. It's in there. What you think about stuff should be higher up on it. But down there, underneath where you put where you think about stuff, you put what everybody else thinks about stuff. So when you're inputting a guru, for instance, you're approaching the new ideas of somebody. Maybe it's Gary Zukav, and you're looking at his ideas of authentic power and inauthentic power, and how all of that plays and works, and you swallow it in a way. You input it into your own system, and you digest it. You decide what feels good and what feels wrong. And if it feels wrong, then you put it off to the side. You don't discard it altogether. It still goes in there under the heading of this is what somebody believes. You don't discard it because it didn't feel right. You just don't pull it into the fundamental top of your own operating system. You don't pull it up to there because it didn't feel right, but it still stays over there in that place where everything goes. It's addition consciousness. You don't throw anything out. All of it is collecting in a place where you're trying to decide what the big picture looks like, you know? And if you really want to know what the big picture looks like, every frequency you ever come across has to go into that place where everything goes in some way, because it was there, you know? I saw it, I felt it, I experienced it, I thought it, whatever the it is, you know, whatever the verb is. Anyway, subtraction consciousness leads to, subtraction consciousness and addition consciousness, they lead to two different kinds of personalities. The person engaged in subtraction consciousness, which is at every given moment, they examine a thought, and if they like it, they input it right there, and if they don't like it, they throw it completely away. That sort of thinking leads to more the cynic type of a person, the skeptic, the one who doesn't really believe anything, you know? You really have to get through some tough, guarded gates to get through to the cynic. Then you have the other kind of person, which is obviously more of what I am, which is the allower, the one who, at every turn, no matter what you say, if you're coming at me from a positive direction, you tell me something, I'm going to go, oh, yeah, I'm going to pull it right in, and it's just going to go right in, because I add everything in. And at first, that kind of person is very gullible. That kind of person at first is very gullible. Believe anything. Believe it. And I was very gullible as a child. I was guileless. I was easily teasable. And I was the baby of the family. I didn't really get teased by many people. The one person that teased me was my brother. But I realize now that he was at the bottom of a food chain of his own. And we didn't have a dog that he could kick or, you know, take it out on or whatever. So he sort of took it out on me because he sort of felt a little bit resentful because everybody seemed so nice to me. And it's like, why are you so nice to her when everybody's so mean to me? And so he teased me. But you know what? In retrospect, it really wasn't all... He wasn't all that mean. It was a little tiny bit of psychological torture is all it ever was. And it's not like I got much from... you know, it's okay. I love him. I love him now, and I forgive him for any of and all of that. And I hope that he forgives me for having resented him for so long, because you know what? That's not nothing. That's not nothing. My resentment of him was not forgivable. Well, I mean, it is forgivable. I hope he forgives me. But anyway, who am I? Who am I? And what is all this blather? I do pretend that I have a practical vision for us all, ideas that will help us as human beings get to a better place on planet Earth. I want to do a hear ye moment. Hear ye, over unity is possible. Did you know that? Even knowing it's possible, we should be putting every young mind interested in the topics of electronics or electricity or energy or physics or mathematics or any of those topics, we should be putting them all. If we were operating as a whole being, that's what we would be doing. We would be cracking the code of gravity, and energy, because it's all right there. The mathematical roadmap has been charted. The mathematics has been done over any number of papers. Actually, you can go over to Zenodo, ZENODO.org, probably. It's probably .org. And put in the search bar. I could go look at if I had one of those windows open, but I don't. It's where Nassim has all of there's a whole bunch of articles that he's written, and you can from there you can find the papers if you really are interested in finding the actual papers. I on my own show I advertise a 37-minute video done on YouTube here, which I'm not eligible yet quite to post other people's video content in my videos, you know. I guess you have to establish for a while. You can't just be some wackadoo getting other people's work tangled up in your madness. I don't know. I guess maybe that's the spirit of that. So I can't embed other people's videos. Otherwise, I'd advertise all of the things I want you to watch. The Lost Century and How to Reclaim It, which is a documentary talking about those over Unity devices. But we should be putting all of our our energy, well, not all of it, but all of our young minds could be looking that direction. Get us off fossil fuels. Not because fossil fuels has not been wonderful, and we don't need to pillory the people who are involved in fossil fuels right now either. We don't need to take any of these people to the guillotine. And as a matter of fact, our recognition of who we are, what's happening, where we are in this moment, and how to effectively move to the future we really want to go to is going to involve us understanding all of the darkness everywhere, and instead of guillotining all those responsible, welcoming them back into the fold, and let's laugh and let's love each other. And I don't care if you were on the other side of the political thing or what, if you're ridiculous, if you're an outlaw, if you're it doesn't even matter. None of it matters. We are all one being on this planet. We are a superorganism. We are acting as a superorganism. We are functioning as a superorganism unto the biosphere that we are interacting with. We just are, whether we want to think about it or not. We might want to think about fashion instead. We might want to think about plumbing instead. We might want to think about cat videos instead. But the truth of it is we are a superorganism, and we are functioning that way. And the next level of consciousness that humanity, that up level that we're going to hit, is the general population, the preponderance of the population acting aware of that, acting conscious of that. We need to start consciously creating ourselves and our world. And it's not going to be a matter of bringing all the criminals to justice. That's not the spirit. And as long as you're trying to bring that spirit to it, you're not going to get where we're really going. And where are we going? What is the foundation of our lives? Well, I did say it was joy and growth, or expansion, you could call it, or the movement to the more and the better, you could call it, and freedom. We are so free, and actually you are always free to do the one thing, the one and only thing, which would be the first thing you should ever do to try to figure out how to get out of the pickle that you are in. Line up with your inner being. Line up with your inner being and figure it out. And it's not just line up with your inner being and now I'm satisfied. I'm stuck in this hole and I lined up with my inner being, and so I'm just going to stay in the hole. Well, that's not what happens. You have to, you don't let your inner being completely take over. That's not what you do. It's a partnership. It's like you are the technology and source energy is the light socket. You know, it's the power outlet into the wall. You need each other. Without you, source energy has no body. There's no form to it. There's no, and that's actually what the point of your physical body is. But your physical body is not exactly who you are. You actually are the source. And the contemplation of all this, it's all so mystical and cool and weird and and wonderful. And how does this get us to off of fossil fuel? Well, you got to really understand the shape of it, the mathematics of it, the spin of it, the how how you where you come in, what your consciousness has to do with it. This feedback, feed forward system of organization, of spin, how it relates to human systems on the ground. Well, I've come to understand that no systems on the ground are going to work ultimately without them obeying the win-win rule, the win-win rule of thumb. And the more that it's a win-win for more people, well, that's a whole nother. I came at that from a forced angle. I'm sorry. You can probably tell when I'm letting the riff flow, just kind of spill out of me. It sounds like one thing, and then when I try to do it from another angle, it sounds more pedantic and it gets more forced, and then I get more apologetic and explanatory. Anyway, who am I? Who am I? I do believe that this understanding will free us. Will free us because, and like I was telling this person that I had a fight with, you know, I would never, ever, ever tell anyone specifically what to do. I would only advise them to line up with their inner being and choose for themselves. You know, I was being accused of. It doesn't matter. Who am I? Who am I? This is an oral meditation for me. And I started it, what is the date today? This is an interesting milestone I got coming up for fans of the show. It is the 21st of November. On the 26th of November, 2023, that was the first time I ever made this recording and called it Who Am I? It was the birth of the Who Am I show. Before that, I was doing it, but I was kind of my original goal was I wanted to put this presentation together of things that I thought went together, things that I thought they related to each other and they had big implications to the future of humanity for a lot of different reasons, from everything from us interacting with the biofield correctly to us being able to plug into a different source of energy, to us being able to get along with one another in an increasingly crowded space as our population grows. It's going to hit a high threshold, and that's actually going to be a good thing. I used to think it was going to be a bad thing. And on the outside, it is going to kind of look a little rough. But if you focus on it from an inside, it's going to be the catalyst that's going to allow us to up-level, to us truly understanding who we are as a collective species on the planet and how to play nice with one another. How you play nice with one another is you get into alignment with your own source, because your source is your own compass that helps you navigate the win-win position for you so that you win and you don't cause anyone else to lose as you win. Do you see how that works? You're looking for the win-win. It's a formula. It's a mathematical formula. The win-win. Write that down. Very, very technical. No, spiritually, it's something you have to keep bringing into the picture, because you're not looking at good and bad people, that you're trying to separate the bad people from the good people and punish the bad people or even get rid of the bad people, which was kind of what we tried to do last century. It was a bad idea, very bad idea. Well, it's not bad people, it's a bad idea. What you're looking at is all good people, all human beings. Every one of them love their children, want the same things you want. Clarity, abundance, comfort, relationship, satisfying occupation or connection to the rest of the group, you could call it. That's what your occupation is going to be. How you connect to the rest of the group. What do you offer to the rest of the group that allows you that golden ticket that allows you to shop on the human supply chain, you know, for whatever goods you want, whether it's technology that you don't have, or healing that you need, or content that you want to entertain yourself with, or building supplies, or. And as a human being, now we live in this magnificent frame now. Didn't used to be quite like this. And it's going to get even better when we plug into source energy, because now everyone will have all the energy that they need to power all of their technologies and their ideas and fuel all of these. And it's going to be the same world, but it will be fueled by a different source, and nobody's going to be yammering about carbon footprints, and it's going to be so wonderful. It's going to inject energy and life into the situation, and we're going to be able to solve all the problems that we have on planet Earth, from sixth mass extinction to global warming to wars that don't seem to ever end, to the general issue of authoritarian psychosis, to world poverty, to the Great Pacific Garbage Patch, and anything adjacent to any of those things I just said. You know, we're going to be able to solve all of those problems, but we have to do a couple of things, and the first one comes from, we got to know who we are. And so that's why I do the show. And I will continue to do the show. Now, I did kind of go online, but I didn't really, live stream. But there's something wrong with my feed, and my tech person has not come back to help me with it. And so nobody has viewed, and nobody has chatted, and there's been no duration of anything. I get an error message saying, error, please use a keyframe frequency of... Well, let's go see what that actually means. So I'm going to end my show. If you are part of my regular viewership, I really, really appreciate you. I love you. I have been promising you, a family in the room listening with you, and I haven't delivered it yet, but I'm having technical issues. I'm not a technical person, and I have no tech around me. I am not a coordination of many. I have been trying to coordinate merely the core of my family along particular spiritual lines. And when I get that really in order, tight and secure, I will be branching out from there. One of my family members is one of my tech support. So, anyway, who am I? I'll be back tomorrow. I didn't get very far. I didn't really talk about over Unity devices. I did tell you to go watch. Did I? Go watch The Lost Century and How to Reclaim It. If you're a fan, I've already told you. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow. And I hope you will too. And until then, please let that source be with you. Because I gotta go over. Oh, I'm still recording. No, I'm still streaming.